A few moments ago, we considered our heritage in the person, work, and words of John Winthrop, our Unitarian forebear who established the first Unitarian congregation in Boston in the year 1630 with an excerpt from a speech he gave to a cold, wet bunch of colonizers. And yes, we must name that they were colonizers of a land not their own. We inherit that DNA. And we also inherit the DNA of their search for freedom from tyranny of body, mind, and spirit, even as they forced tyranny over others. Such is the bitter irony of our human condition. So often we visit upon others the sufferings that we ourselves have fled. It takes a lot of work to change that legacy. Here is more of that speech that Winthrop gave some 400 years ago. To avoid shipwreck, he said, and provide for our posterity, we must be willing to abridge ourselves of our superfluities for the supply of others' necessities. We must uphold a familiar commerce together in all meekness, gentleness, patience, and liberality. We must delight in each other, make others' conditions our own, rejoice together, mourn together, labor and suffer together, always having before our eyes our community in the work, our community as members of the same body. So shall we keep the unity of the Spirit and the bond of peace. Now, writing about this speech, the Reverend Victoria Safford says, it was an extraordinary declaration of interdependence. Despite their stone-cold reputation as Puritans and their caricatured intolerance, these were people who promised to bear each other's burdens as their own, to subvert their separate private interests, their superfluities, for the public good of all. Humbly, gently, patiently, they would serve a vision larger than any single eye could see. They would hold a larger hope. The only way to avoid shipwreck, spiritual or otherwise, was to keep the unity of the Spirit and the bond of peace. The Reverend Safford goes on to note that while the history of our shared humanity is more often written in terms of human discovery and inventions, wars, art, laws, forms of government, customs, and the cultivation of land, the ethicist and theologian Margaret Farley notes the deeper heart of human history lies in the all too often hidden narratives of the promises and the pledges that we make together as individuals and as community. Truly, every person's story, yours and mine and ours together, lies in the stories of the promises we make, the promises we keep, and the promises we don't, and how we come back together after a breach. Every Sunday in this beloved community, we repeat together the unison affirmation written by the Unitarian minister James Villa Blake around the turn of the last century. Love is the spirit of this congregation, and service is its law. This is our great covenant, to dwell together in peace, to seek the truth in love, and to help one another. El amor es el espíritu de esta congregación. El servicio su ley principal. Esta es nuestra gran promesa. Vivir juntos en paz, buscar la verdad a través del amor y ayudarnos mutuamente. This is our great covenant. To dwell together in peace, to seek the truth in love, and to help one another. Now, this is indeed a great covenant. It's a big promise. It's not easy to keep. Let's look at it one piece at a time. First, to dwell together in peace. Well, that's not large at all. It's only the quest of the human heart through time immemorial and throughout all history, to dwell together in peace. Let there be peace on earth, we sing. Each generation sings with every prophet. Every prophet declared the Prince of Peace come. Everyone declared the bringer of peace. Every uprising of the young, a demand for peace. Every yearning of the old, the hope for peace in our waning days on this earth. To dwell together in peace in this world of chaos. By what audacity do we dare to make this promise to one another every Sunday morning? Well, first of all, if we can't see it, we can't be it. And if we can't say it, we can't pray it. To dwell together in peace. That's why we at River of Grass have our covenant of right relationship that begins. We, the members and staff of River of Grass Unitarian Universalist Congregation, agree to strive to be in relationship with each other and with the larger community in ways that build a safe and healthy and nurturing environment and strengthen our common bonds. To that end, we are committed to putting forth our best efforts to live out the ideals expressed in this, our covenant of right relationship. And then that covenant goes on to give some details about how we're going to do that. Our intentions toward being ever more welcoming and more inclusive in community, cultivating deeper ways to listen and more thoughtful and honest ways to speak, which will lead us to better and better ways of resolving conflict and achieving reconciliation when we hurt one another, which we will because we are human as well. We learn how we will support and serve one another in times of need and how we will celebrate together in times of joy. If you would like to refresh yourself about this covenant of right relationship, it is on our website and will soon be on a poster back here in our hospitality area as a gentle reminder of the promises we make and how we will keep them. This is how we promise. This is how we dare to say we will live together in peace. To live together in peace, number 2, to seek the truth in love. To seek the truth in love. Our 4th principle echoes the same. We affirm and promote a free and responsible search for truth and meaning. A free and responsible search for truth and meaning. To seek the truth in love. There can be a problem with this because free thinkers, people who believe in liberty, are very quick to jump on the free part to the neglect of the responsible part, to jump on the seek truth part without always thinking about the in love part. So what does it mean to seek the truth in love? What does it mean to engage in a free and responsible search for truth and meaning? It means that yes, I am free to search out truth and meaning. But if my search tramples on you or yours, then it is not responsible. If my seeking truth leaves aside in love, and my seeking does you harm, then we have not fulfilled our promises as Unitarian Universalists. Now, the same goes for free speech. My free speech is not license for me to put forth ideas or put forth ideas in ways that does others harm, pushes others to the margin. There is a lot raging in our world right now about free speech. It's a pretty hot argument because there are some who claim it means they have the right to say anything about anything to anyone at any time, anywhere they happen to be, without regard for the responsibility they have to the others around them, without regard to the love that is necessary to frame and hold everything we do. Free speech is not and has never been absolute. Nor does free speech mean freedom from the consequences of our speech. We, as Unitarian Universalists, are to embark upon our free search for truth and meaning while taking responsibility for the impact of our search on others within our reach. And given we live in a digital age when we can share everywhere all the time, that means everybody is within our reach. And so it is that every single Sunday we promise that we will seek the truth in love. And my seeking truth risks harm to you, and it is not in love. To dwell together in peace, to seek the truth in love, and to help one another. Here is the crux of the matter. Here is how we keep our promises. Here is how we keep our word and keep this faith with that third part, and to help one another. Not by what we say, by what we do. Not by repeating our covenant in unison somewhere around 10:30 each Sunday morning, but by living it all the days, all the hours, every minute in between. And how we care for one another. How we go to trouble for one another. How we set aside our own person for the sake of others. To arrive early, to set up, and stay late to clean up, to give a ride or deliver a meal or lift a prayer or listen to another's heartbreak or rejoice with another when our own hearts may be breaking. To listen without judgment and to speak without condemnation. The list is long in the ways we can live our covenants with one another. And not just one another in this room, but one another in the world at large. One another in the ways that we live outside this door. The ways of love that we seek to live every day. The ways of love that make strangers into friends and transforms friends into family. Let's remember this holiday season. This season that is so fraught with a mixture of hope and heartache. This season, the television commercials for a particular grocery store can bring a tear to your eye. Sometimes a tear for sweet memories of the way things were. Sometimes a tear for a wish our own holidays had ever been that way, or will ever be, or if they once were and now are not. A tear for the fictional family ours may never have been. At least maybe not the one we're born to. There are more kinds of family than the family of blood. There's a family of bond. And the marvelous truth is that the family of bond can be stronger and more faithful and more enduring and more loving than the family of blood. It's the promises we make and the promises we keep, not necessarily DNA, that wrap our hearts in the true unity of the Spirit and bond of peace. And so this week we lift up in gratitude our lives. We give thanks for one another and for the covenants we make in the ways we live into them, in the pathways back when we fail. The ways, as John Winthrop said, that we become willing to abridge ourselves of the superfluities for the supply of others' necessities. and to make others' conditions our own, as members of the same body, that we might keep the unity of spirit and the bond of peace that we have found. Love is the spirit of this congregation, and service is its law. This is our great covenant, to dwell together in peace, to seek the truth in love, and to help one another. El amor es el espíritu de esta congregación y servicio su ley principal. Esta es nuestra gran promesa. Vivir juntos en paz, buscar verdad a través del amor y ayudarnos mutuamente. On this day, let us not merely give our word. Let us live our word and prove our promises by the very lives we live. Let the life I live speak for me. Let the life I live speak for me. When I'm resting in my grave and there's nothing more to say, let the life I live speak for me. Please rise and body your spirit. Love. Let the love I give speak for me. Let the love I give. Let the love I give speak for me. When I'm resting in my grave, when I'm resting in my grave, and there's nothing more to say, let the love I give speak for me. Let the works I do. Let the works I do speak for me. Let the works I do speak for me. When I'm resting in my grave, when I'm resting in my grave, and there's nothing more to say, let the works I do speak for me. The songs I sing. Let the songs I sing speak for me. Let the songs I sing speak for me. When I'm resting in my grave and there's nothing more to say, let the songs I sing speak for me. Let the life I live. Let the life I live speak for me. Let the life I live speak for me. When I'm resting in my grave and there's nothing more to say, let the life I live speak for me. Let the life I live speak for me. We extinguish this chalice, but not the fire that burns in our hearts, not the light that leads us on, not the love that we have promised to give. The lives we lead speak for us. And this time the world is searching for ways to dwell together in peace, to seek the truth and love, and to help one another. As we depart this place, let us hold before our eyes the vision of a world transformed and dare to transform ourselves that it might be so. Until we meet again. Shine.